Hey guys, so it's been a couple weeks since I got the 7-string Agile Interceptor Pro. I've had some time to tinker around with it. I've had a chance to figure out how I really feel about it, and just kind of wanted to do a follow-up. I've gotten a lot of emails from guys asking a lot of questions about neck profile, pickups, bridge, lots of stuff, and I'd like to address some of those questions now, and also just kind of share some insights that I've had with the guitar. First of all, big question I get is how I feel about the 27-inch scale. My original take on it was it's only 1.5 inches longer than a regular guitar. The frets aren't that much farther apart, and I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. And the more I'm playing it, it is a big change. Everything is a little bit farther away, especially like in the first few frets going up the neck. I mean, it just, even between the first and the fourth fret, I mean, I got decent sized hands, and it's a pretty decent stretch. So if that's a concern of yours, you might want to try the 25.5-inch scale. I talked to Keith Murrow about it. He has way more experience with 7 strings than I do. And he said he hasn't had any intonation problems with any of his standard scale guitars, and you might want to stay away from the baritones. If you feel like you could really take advantage of the extended scale, go for it. I personally hate how cramped the frets get on a standard scale guitar up in the higher register. I have a custom 24, and when I get up into this area, I mean, my hands aren't that big, but like my pinky is more than enough to fret out a few frets up in the higher registers in a standard scale. So I like having the baritone for that reason, but there's definitely a big curve to get used to. And then of course, once you start talking about adding extra strings and getting the neck wider too, it definitely takes your hands a while to get familiar. That'll bring me into my next issue, which is the pickups. First and foremost, you should know right out of the gate, if you don't like active electronics, you're stuck for now. I was planning on putting in a JB 59 set. Can't do that. I didn't know that. And a lot of guys are emailing me asking me if you can. Just so you know, the 707 pickup from EMG is actually manufactured in a base casing. So it's wider than any other pickup available on the market for now, other than the Seymour Duncan Blackout. It's also active electronics. Might be a better option for you. Sounds a lot more like a Duncan than an EMG. But one thing I want to say quick, as much as I was adverse to using these pickups at all, and I was screwing around with my amp settings, and I was having trouble finding a sound I was happy with the EMGs, I found that it's not really how you dial in your amp, it's how you play the pickups. It seems to me like the more you can mute the strings with your right hand and left hand, Rusty Cooley's got a good video on that, using your left hand also to be muting, so you're, getting a little more out of it. Basically, the cleaner you can get the string noise, the better the EMGs sound. And there's lots of guys that sound great playing EMGs. Jeff Loomis, Rusty Cooley, tons and tons and tons of endorsed guys are playing EMGs, and I could never get them to sound like that. And then I started figuring out that with different playing techniques, you really can get some better sound. So just spend some time adjusting calibrating your ear to your hand and getting a sound you're happier with. They don't respond the way passive pickups do, but that doesn't mean you can't get a good sound out of them with some adjustment. So just be ready for that if that's something you're interested in. A lot of guys are asking me about the Floyd Rose. It's good. In my first video, I was talking about how I was a little worried about yanking on it and throwing the intonation off and having to have it set up again. I just didn't want to throw it out and then have to have the guitar set up again and not have it for a couple days or whatever. So, but since then, I've screwed around with it a lot. It stays locked in. When you do like harmonic squeals and stuff like that, and get like this big Slayer rips, it holds together. I was going to do some sound stuff for you, but you guys all know what that sounds like. There's no point in playing anything else. As far as the neck profile itself goes, it's pretty flat. I would compare it a lot more towards something like a Ibanez RG neck. It's a little bit thicker in terms of how much meat it puts in your hand, but it's certainly nothing like the baseball bat shape of like a 59 Les Paul, or even like Schecter necks tend to be pretty substantial. I've played some ESP 7 strings too that I've wondered why in the hell anybody would want to have that chunky of a neck on a 7-string guitar. I've been playing guitar like my whole life, and I got some pretty well developed muscles between my fingers, but even now I'm still finding myself kind of cramping up when I'm making these new chord shapings. It does take a little more out of your hands to make some of these bigger chord shapes, especially with the longer scale. So just being aware of where your thumb is on the back of the neck can really make a difference and help you reach those larger shapes. But again, just to reiterate, if you're sketchy about going to a baritone scale, just don't even bother. It doesn't like sound any cooler really. And another big thing I want to talk about, and it's my fault, and I've watched plenty of other guys doing it, and they have no problems, it seems like, or they're plenty used to it anyway. Like I mentioned in the first video, with a 7-string guitar, it feels like, or it sounds like you're playing in dropped A. Like when you tune the low B down to A, and you're playing like what feels like in dropped D. So it sounds really, really low and everything like that, and it's super tough. But the guitar is only tuned down one step on one string. So as opposed to tuning your 6th string down to B, or A even, I guess is what I'm saying, you don't get all that slack. You don't have that like rubber band feeling, like super loose string. The strings are still super taut, and they're even more taut because you have the extended scale neck that puts even more tension per string. So bending notes is it's a lot more difficult. What's interesting though too is it kind of seems like even with heavier gauge strings on it, they still feel pretty light. Like I think these are 10s on here, and they feel like 8s or something like that. They just kind of get lost on the scale. But one thing I'm having trouble with myself is ripping out pinch harmonics. For some reason, just with that added tension, it's just taking me a long time to get used to it. So I'll go to do like big squeals and stuff like that, and I keep missing them. And I've been playing this thing quite a bit over the last few weeks, and I'm still kind of having trouble getting used to it. So when you get the guitar, don't plan on just being able to pick it up and just switch gears immediately. It took me a while to kind of figure out some of my other stuff on a 7-string. It just kind of throws you off, but I mean, this is all stuff that anybody that's played a 7-string for a long time is familiar with. I'm just trying to answer some of the questions I've been getting from other guys that are looking to get into 7-strings, or they're curious about this guitar in particular. So pickups, you're stuck with actives for now. And of course, unless you do want to put in like a JB and 59 set, and then you can fill the cavity. That's something you'd want to talk to your local guitar guy about, unless that's something you can do yourself, in which case I'm sure you already have ideas what you'd want to do. Trend system's fantastic. You can beat the shit out of it all day. It's going to stay in tune. Neck profile is comfortable. It's a little wide, it's a little long, but the actual thickness of the neck itself is a good shape. It's I suppose I'd call it like it's like a really mild C or something like that. I guess this is as close as you could say. The middle almost feels flat, and then the sides are just kind of like tapered. So your hand gets really pretty comfortable. It's nice. It's painted on the back. You know, it's not raw maple. I like that. A lot of guys don't. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions at all, please feel free to email me at any time. I'll either make videos or answer your questions, via text on the screen, whatever. Hope that helps, and look forward to some new sound stuff from me. So thanks for watching, guys.